Hey guys, welcome back. We have been talking about a lot of exceptions and how to raise the exceptions. But what I what do I mean by raising an exception? That's what we are trying to learn or understand through today's video. So when I'm talking about raising exceptions, it means you can explicitly raise exceptions using the raise keyword or the statement. Now, raising exceptions allows you to indicate that an error has occurred and to control the flow of your program by handling these exceptions appropriately. Yeah. Now, raising an exception refers to explicitly trigger an error condition in your program. Now, this can be useful for handling situation where the normal flow of your program cannot continue due to an error or an unexpected condition. Now, in Python, you can raise built-in exceptions like value error or type error or any kind of error to indicate common error conditions. Additionally, you can create and raise custom exceptions. Now, raising an exceptions, as we know, could be done in various ways. So probably you can raise a built-in exception. So let me show you. Exception. Now, when I'm saying all those things, you can raise any built-in exception by creating an instance of that exception class and using the raise statement for raise statement with it. Yeah. So how we can do that is you can just say raise. Yeah. Uh, uh, we can raise an exception with built-in function by saying raise and the exception. This could be a value error and the message. Yeah. So I could say this is a general exception. Yeah. And I could run it. Okay. So most probably this is the common syntax that we have. So we have the raise as a keyword, the exception name. In this case, we have the value error, and the message that you have to give. Yeah. So this is a general exception. That's what the error that we have given. So let me show you an example for it. So suppose I have a function. Yeah. So I say for def, I have a function called divide in which I am passing a value for a comma b. Yeah. So numerator and the denominator. Yeah? Now this function, if b equals to 0, then I am trying to raise an exception saying raise value error yeah and specifies the error. I can say denominator cannot be 0. And if the exception, and I'll return a divided by b. So let me try. Let me put an exception to it saying the result. That is where I am running the function. I'll say 100 divided by 0. If an exception is raised, that is a value error. Yeah, that is the value error that we have saying as e, and it will print the error. Yeah, print the message of this error. Yeah. So we are specifically telling this particular definition to raise this particular error if any error occurs. So let me run this. Let's see what happens. Since I am dividing it by 0, I'm getting this message denominator can be 0. So what happens? This particular statement runs at the start because this is a function and we are calling this particular divide function from here by passing two variables, the numerator and the denominator here as a and b. Yeah, when this particular function runs, it gets into it and it checks whether b is 0. If b is 0, it raises this error. Yeah. So when this function receives an invalid argument, it gives you the error. You can also raise custom exceptions. So as we have built-in exceptions, we can have custom exceptions. So raising custom exceptions. Now, when talking about custom exceptions, in addition to a built-in exception, you can define and raise your own custom exceptions by creating a new exception class that inherits from the base exception class or any subclasses. So you can define and raise your own custom exceptions. How do you do that? By defining a class. Yeah. You can refer to my other videos, which is regarding classes on how to create a class, which will help you to understand. So I'll create uh, a custom exception. Okay, let me make it custom exception. I'm defining a class called custom exception, and I am having a value for it called exception. I'm not doing anything in it as an argument. I'm just passing it off. Yeah. Then I'm defining a function which will use the class. So I'll say def uh, risky function. Yeah. So def raise custom exceptions. That is my class. This is a custom exception. Yeah. Then I have tried to run the risky function, which is available here, which raises this error. Yeah. Within this class. Yeah. And it pushes it to the exception. So let's see. Yeah. So this particular function is being pulled by defining a class here. Yeah. So this is how you can define your own custom functions to manage certain errors which may come up. Now, how do you create it? Yeah. So creating custom exceptions. Custom exceptions is useful, as we know, for handling specific error conditions that are unique to your applications. Yeah. So if I have created an application or a program for which a specific error needs to be handled and a unique error needs to be displayed or an exception needs to be triggered. Yeah. So providing it will it will what will happen, it will provide a precise error reporting and control when we do this, because there are building exceptions which may not be used for your specific program. Yeah. So but we may use it. So suppose for an example, I have an age range which may get a wrong input from my user. Yeah. How do I display that particular error? So to create a custom exception in Python, you define a new class that inherits from the built-in exception. So you already have the exception. From there, you create a new class. Yeah. Now this custom exception class can have additional attributes like the message or the context about the error condition. Yeah. So let me show you an example which will give you an idea. So suppose I have this class. Let me create a custom exception by defining a class first. So we need to have a class which has the custom exception. So I say I have an invalid age. So I define an invalid age. Yeah. Error which has an exception. Okay. Now this exception, I will just put it as age exception. This exception will have its own, or the class will have its own init. Not input transformer, I'm really very sorry. Will have its initialization function. Every class has an initialization function where it will call itself first. Then it will take the parameter, which is the age, which we need to check. Yeah. And then we have the message that could be equals to age is not within the specified range of 18 to 100. Yeah. So we have this message, we have the age. Yeah. We are defining it. So I'm saying self dot age equals to age and self dot message equals to age and self dot message equals to MSG. Yeah, which was a message. And then we have a super function which will take the init self dot message. So it will run within itself. Then let's define a function which will call the def. I'll say check age. Yeah. And the input should be an age, as we know. So if age is greater than 18, less than 18, I'll raise a invalid age function. So that will run. Or if the age is right, it will print age is valid. Age is valid. Yeah. As inputted. Yeah. And I'll specify the age. Pretty clear? Now we'll try to run the above two through a try and accept. Yeah. So I am saying try, check age, accept invalid age. So if my age is out of range, out of this 100, it will run the invalid age as E. Yeah. So it will run my exception over this. Yeah. And it will run this checking the age, and it will give me the message age is not within the specified range. So let me run this with the correct age first. So I'll try to run it by 95, which is within the range 18 to 100. So it will give me age is valid. Age exception is not defined. Let me check what have I done. Self, comma, age, invalid age. That's right. Age exception, age. Erase invalid age. Where am I going wrong? Class. Invalid age. Okay, I am running this, but I need to first run the class, I guess. Just hold on, let me check. Not defined. Where am I going wrong? Let me run this. Def init self comma age equal to age is not within the specified range. And then we specify the age to be 120. Let me put the age higher than what it is. Age exception is not defined. Let me change something. Let me make it exception, just an exception. Ages within the specified range of 18 to 100. Why it is within the range of 18 to 100? Less than 18 or age greater than 100. Oh, it is age is not within 18 and 100. Yeah. So it has given me an error. So if since the age is greater than 100, it is giving the error. Whereas if I would have specified it as 95, then it would have given me the right answer. Yeah. So age is valid as inputted as 95. Okay. Since I have added it as 120, it is giving me an error. Yeah. So this is supposed to be an exception which we are going to push. Yeah. So that needs to be taken care of. Yeah. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to create a custom exception where there is a age error. Now this particular error will never occur in your built-in exceptions. Where if I show you a list of 29 built-in exceptions that I have, which we usually use, well, you'll never find this. So this is something which is custom built. So this is specifically built to uh, address the errors that a user inputs usually. Yeah. So if there is a input error that has been done by an by a user, that is where we address it. It is same like a data validation in Excel that you have. Yeah. Hope you have understood this. Let me bring your attention to another concept, that is re-raising exceptions. So what do you mean by re-raising exceptions? So let me first give you a brief. So when I'm talking about re-raising exceptions, sometimes you may need to catch an exception, perform specific action, and then re-raise the same exception to be handled further up the call stack. Now, this is useful when you want to ensure certain actions are taken when an exception occurs, but still allow the exception to propagate for higher level handling. So, to re-raise an exception in Python, you use raise statement without specifying an exception. So that's very important. Here in raise, we specify the exception name, yeah, along with it. But in re-raising, we do not specify the exception name so that we can use it later. Yeah. So for an example, show you an example. What happens is suppose I have a function which opens a file. So I have a def function called use def. So let me write a function first. Def use file, yeah, and I specify the file name, yes, and within that I give an try block saying that with open file name in a read mode, which I want to give as f. Okay, I want the data of the file to be read. So file dot read. I am trying to read the file. Yes. And then we have the except block. If the above doesn't work, it should give me file not found error. Yeah. I'm just specifying it as E. I'm giving it an argument. So I'll say print file not found. Yeah. So I am re-raising that exception since I am not specifying anything. And to re-raise it, I'm saying raise. I am not specifying any kind of error. I'm just saying this is where I am re-raising the exception. Yeah. So let me try and get the file. So I am say use my file. I should not say not existing. You say my file dot text. So I'm trying to run this particular function, which will take this file name and it will try to open it. Since it will not be found, it will come up with an error saying the file not found, and it will re-raise that error. Yeah. and it will say the error has occurred. So except file not found error. Yeah, as e. So let's run this. Okay. No active exception to re-raise. So what have I done wrong? Let me check it once again. R as F. Then I'm trying to get the data. Then I'm raising a file not found error, which will print. And then I'm re-raising. Okay, I'm re-raising. I'm not indenting it properly. So except it, I'm re-raising it here. Okay, so now let me run it. Can see the file is not found. An error occurred. Error number 2, no such file or directory. Yeah. So this is how you re-raise a particular error so that it could be used within the exception itself. So this is the exception we have, and we have re-raised it using the error that we have got or encountered. Hope I was able to make this re-raising of exception concept a bit clear. There's a bit complicated concept, and the classes and all, do not worry about it. Go to my video on functions where you learn classes, where you can check how classes are defined. Yeah, to get more understanding. The point here I'm trying to drive through this particular topic is you can raise exceptions. You can create custom exceptions where you require them for a specific purpose, where you do not want to use built-in function exceptions. You can create custom function, and you can re-raise those exceptions by following a proper method. Hope you understood the concept. Hope you like the video and the contents and the examples that I have been showing. Hope please do comment if you have any views or thoughts about what has been taught. And yes, do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you like to get such informative videos directly to your inbox. Thank you so much.